everyone. So thank you for joining us in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm Molly O'Brien. This is Liz Skrobish. She's the Executive Director of the Ocean State Animal Coalition. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, Molly.
So we're very excited because you have some tremendous news. I'm really happy to be a part of you announcing it. So the Rhode Island Community Spay-Neuter Clinic is quickly approaching 50,000 surgeries. 50,000!
It is. We're just coming up on our 7th anniversary on July 1st, and we expect to reach 50,000 surgeries by the later part of next week.
So, yay! Congratulations! We're helping prevent pet overpopulation within New England, within Rhode Island. So I wanted to have you on today to come make this announcement, to come talk about the Ocean State Animal Coalition, which is runs the Spay-Neuter Clinic. So why don't we just talk a little bit about how you got this far, to how we're reaching that goal, and just really what it means.
Wow. Okay. The Ocean State Animal Coalition was founded in 2007, and it's really an organization of organizations. Some of the major humane organizations in the state got together, really based on pet overpopulation and trying to determine what we could do about it. And this group includes Providence Animal Rescue League, Providence Animal Control, the Potter League, Animal Rescue Rhode Island, Paws Watch, Paws RI, and the Rhode Island SPCA, as well as the Rhode Island Veterinary Medical Association. So it's really shelters, animal control officers, and veterinary community together working on this issue of pet overpopulation. In July 2010, we opened the Rhode Island Community Spay-Neuter Clinic, which is a standalone clinic. It's completely dedicated to ending pet overpopulation. The clinic's mission is to provide low-cost but really high-quality spay-neuter services for dogs and cats. Those are provided both for private owners and for animals that are in the care of shelters and rescue organizations or animal control.
And I get excited every time I talk about the clinic. It's so cool to have this resource within our community, to be able to provide low-cost spay-neuter to people and to organizations. And it's an asset that I don't know that everybody knows about. But to reach a milestone like 50,000 is a huge accomplishment. Tell me a little bit about what it means to you and to the team.
Well, it means everything. It means we're on the path. It doesn't mean that we're done. It means we're on the path. You know, we have a long way to go. Cat overpopulation in particular in New England is still an issue. It's less true of dogs, where that might be true somewhere else in the country, down in the south and out in the west. Really in New England, cat overpopulation has been an issue for some time. That particularly includes free-roaming cats, cats that you see outdoors, whether they're strays or ferals or just owned cats that are now roaming.
Yeah.
Those cats reproduce just as owned cats do. So part of our specialty is trapped cats. We've done about 10,000 trapped cats, so it's roughly 20% of the animals coming through.
Wow.
And our mission there is working with either organizations who have trapped them or individuals who are just concerned about cats in their neighborhoods who do the same, and we make sure that all of those cats have been spayed or neutered and are vaccinated and given health checks, etc.,
Wow.
so that they're not procreating when they're out on the street. Beyond that, our other specialty is pit bulls and pit bull type dogs. We have special pricing for them. We really encourage getting them neutered because we know that those are the dogs most likely to end up in shelters. And our mission is to keep unwanted litters off the streets and out of the shelters, whether they are cats or dogs. So I think we're making a difference. I think the shelters are seeing perhaps less of a flow of animals into their facilities. I also know that in certain communities we've made a real dent. I mean, I can pick some, Woonsocket or Central Falls or other locations where we know that we are reaching a large population of people.
So when you talk about making a dent, let's talk a little bit about that. What are the services for people who might not be familiar with OSAC or with the community spay-neuter clinic? How do you feel like you've made those differences, whether it's through the shelter or providing for individuals?
The clinic accommodates probably most of the shelters in the state and handles their spay-neuter services, in addition to other animal welfare organizations or rescue organizations, whether they're for dogs or for cats. Over the years, we've had well over 100, probably closer to 150 different, we call them volume clients, but shelters or rescue organizations, either from Rhode Island or from Connecticut or from Massachusetts, coming to our clinic. And some are there consistently and some are there only occasionally, but they all know us and use us. Separately, for private pet owners, we have a policy of never saying no. So if you think you can't afford it, you call us and we'll help to make it happen. That's really, really important. And finally, a big component of what we do is having free transportation for pets, either from shelters or privately owned pets from a whole variety of points around the state. We provide free transportation because we don't want geography to be an impediment. And this is Rhode Island and nobody likes to drive.
So let's get into that, because I think that's a big issue that that a lot of people have trouble with when it comes to getting their pets spayed or neutered. And let's talk about what you guys are doing and moving forward, because I think that's I don't know if it's necessarily a progressive idea, but it seems to be here moving forward to prevent pet overpopulation, because a lot of times when people don't spay or neuter their pet, it's because of cost and it's because they can't get to a place, right? So you can't take your dog or your cat on the bus, right? Or I can't get somewhere because I don't have a car, right? So those are the issues that come up when you talk to people who just choose not to get there because they say they can't, right? They can't afford it and they can't get somewhere. So was that really a significant change when it came to the spay neuter clinic, is being able to get that transport vehicle and saying, hey, we'll come we'll pick up your animal? It
was. I think it's a game changer in some ways, and for some people. Our clinic van is on a schedule, and so at any given time we might be up in the Woonsocket, Lincoln, or Central Falls area. We might be in East Providence or Pawtucket. We're down in Tiverton. We're at the Potter League down in Middletown, and we're as far south in the other direction as Westerly, and then Charlestown and South Kingston.
So that's everywhere.
So most places, we're trying to get to a couple of other cities as well.
We need to go over to like the Foster Situate side.
Exactly. We want to expand our transport there as well. What we're trying to do is make it as easy for pet owners as possible. So if travel is an impediment, if transportation is an impediment, if you can get to your local shelter, which is where our pickup place is, and it's in one of those places, then the transportation is free. Our transport driver, who's also a veterinary technician, is perfectly capable of taking those animals, loading them on the van, bringing them in for surgery. They stay overnight and they go home the next day. And there's no, as I said, there's no charge for that service. And while we're there at the shelters, we're of course picking up shelter animals too. We're doing both.
Which is amazing. Have you seen an influx of pets coming in over the years as you've continued this service, as you've brought in the transport?
Transport actually accounts for 17 or 18% of the animals that we do every year. So it's really a significant portion of what we do, and it's a service that our clients really love. They absolutely love it, and many of them use it often, whether it's for their own pets or because they're with rescue organizations.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the volume. I want to get back to the transport idea and how animals get to you, but let's deal with the volume. So you kind of sent me over some notes, and I've been familiar with the organization for a long time. But I saw your veterinarians and people who work with you guys able to routinely perform 40 to 50 surgeries a day.
Yeah, sure.
That's incredible. How do you deal with the volume? How does the staff deal with the volume of that many surgeries a day?
Well, I could call it organized chaos, but it really is organized. We're set up for that. Our clinic is modeled on something called the Humane Alliance Clinic, which is down in North Carolina. And so following that model, we were the 87th clinic like this to open in the country, and there are now about 150 or 160 of these clinics spread out throughout the country. We are the only one in Rhode Island, and the next closest one is up in Springfield, Massachusetts. Following that model, we have certain protocols that we use that are consistent across all of those clinics. And it's not exactly a franchise, but it's a model where we had mentoring and we're able to take the best practices used in North Carolina and bring them here to Rhode Island. Our doctors have all been there for training. They do very fast spays and neuters, and there's a technique that allows them to do it faster, but also do it very safely and efficiently. Our technician staff, some of them have also been there for training, and as we bring new people on, they get that training as well. And it's very mission oriented. We are not there really to provide general veterinary services.
Yeah.
That's not our mission. And
Yeah.
if our doctors identify a medical need with a pet, the owner is referred to a full service doctor for that instead. But we are there really for just spay neuter. And so on a busy day, 40 or 50 is not unusual. I think our all-time high was a little over 60.
Wow.
That was exceptional, and we were sort of falling all over each other, but we got it done. But the more we do, the happier we are.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, talk about a dent. Tell me, just for people out there who are trying to figure out if spay neuter is right for them, for their pets, I should say.
Or both.
Yeah, exactly, right? Talk to me about the importance of why it's a good choice to spay or neuter your animal, especially here in Rhode Island.
Absolutely. Spay neuter is important for a number of reasons. First, of course, because if you don't intend for your cat or dog to breed, there's no need for them to go into heat, and there's certainly no need for anybody to have a litter, first thing. There's no medical benefit, there's no psychological benefit to either a cat or dog having a litter. It's just not necessary. Secondly, from a medical standpoint, any cat or dog that has been spayed, for example, females have been spayed, are no longer at risk for something called pyometra, which is an infection that we see far too often. It's a potentially fatal infection if it's not caught early enough. And if we're not catching it and it continues to go, or if another veterinarian doesn't catch it early, that not only is a very expensive surgery, but as I said, could be fatal. Also, spay-neuter prevents certain cancers from developing in dogs and cats, and that's really critical. People who love their pets want them to be healthy. And for health reasons alone, spaying and neutering is really paramount, ideally even happening before the first heat. That's usually in cats, that's typically around 5 or 6 months, although it could be later. And same thing sort of for dogs, could be 6 to 9 months, somewhere in there. We recommend that because if they're spayed before they go into heat, then you've basically just about eliminated the risk of mammary cancer. You've reduced it significantly.
Oh, yeah.
And that's in dogs and cats, male and female. The neutering, spaying process is really important for that. We do at the clinic kittens and puppies as young as 8 weeks, as long as they weigh 2 pounds. Now, we don't
I
do a
didn't know
lot
that.
of puppies
That seems
under
young.
12 weeks. It does
Yeah.
seem young, doesn't it? But that's the trend nationally. And the American Veterinary Association and the Rhode Island Veterinary Medical Association both are on board in recommending pediatric spay-neuter.
Wow.
We typically do dogs more like from the 12 to 16 week age and up. And for cats or for kittens, for example, they'd have to be at least 12 weeks old to receive a rabies vaccination.
Yeah.
And we include vaccinations for free. So we don't usually rush those, but we often see kittens in the 8, 9, 10, 11 week age range if they're at shelters, and they
Yeah.
need to be done before they're adopted out.
For adopted, yeah. Is that a lot of times when you're getting the cats, are you getting kittens from shelters, or are you getting kittens from people bringing them in and finding them? Because you're getting a lot of people trapping cats, right? So are you getting, when you're getting those cats and you're getting those kittens, are you getting a lot of people bringing them in? They find them in their barn, or they find them under
Yes.
their deck, stuff like that?
Yeah, they're actually coming from both places. On the one hand, keep in mind, this is kitten season. This is kind of the height of it right now. Kitten season starts every year, depends. It could be mid-March to mid-April, and then it sort of gets into full swing where everybody's loaded with kittens by about June, and then the cats that are breeding and have not been spayed will have another litter by the end of the summer or early fall, which is why this becomes such a busy time of year. And then during the winter, nature provides for them to just stop the breeding, just briefly, so we can catch up. But yes, they're also coming in traps, lots of pregnant cats, lots of cats where kittens have been found, and that kind of thing, yeah.
So if people are interested in using you as a resource, or they're interested in the transport, which I think is so valuable because it is tough, and it's something that it's a great resource to have, or they're interested in providing funding, maybe making a donation, how can they do that? What's the best way to get in touch with you guys and maybe getting some more information?
Absolutely. We actually do have what we call a Spay It Forward fund at the clinic, and every dollar donated there helps people who cannot otherwise afford to have their pets spayed or neutered. It's really a very valuable fund that we have. As I said, we've never said no, so we cobble the money together and we make it happen. Our facility is right in Warwick, And our website is ricsnc.org. It stands for Rhode Island Community Spay Neuter Clinic. So ricsnc.org is the website. Anybody who wants to make a donation can do that over the website. They can also get more information about our services. If they want to call us for an appointment and say they'd like to get a pet on transport, just let us know where you are. We have our schedule, it's all booked out for the rest of the year. We know where we're going to be and when. We can always make that arrangement.
So if you live in, say you live in like Taunton or something, you would just need to get like to the East Providence shelter. Is that kind of how it works? And that's where they would pick up your pet?
Sure. It's also possible to just come to the clinic. For
Okay.
anybody who wants to drive directly to the clinic, we have, by appointment, we do have pets coming in the front door every day.
Okay. And so, I mean, when you're working with an individual, because you do things with shelters, when you are working with an individual, do they get like on a payment program? Because is that kind of how it works? Because
No.
you don't turn anyone away.
No, we don't turn anyone away, but we also don't have a payment program. Payment is in full at the time of surgery, but we maintain grant funds and our donation fund and things like that. So for people who have a difficult time affording this surgery, even at our lower cost, we'll make it happen for
You
them.
make it happen. So if this is something that you're looking into, there are options out there for you
Yes.
and for your pet. So definitely look them up. We'll have a link on our website as well. Liz, it's been so great talking to you. Thank you so much for coming
Molly.
in, and congratulations to you and
Thank
your
you.
staff and everyone
Yeah.
involved with OSAC and the